Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals and today I have got game 1 of a best of 1. It is from the Acer Team Story Cup and it is some Zerg versus Terran. And it's between two awesome players as well, so this should be really good. I'm super excited about it. Everything is going to be tip top and that makes me an excitable caster. And excitable casters are always good, unless of course you're one of those people who doesn't like excitable casters, and then I would deduce that excitable casters are bad. So, yeah, hopefully everyone watching this is the variety of people who like people to be excitable when they're casting. And wasn't that just like the most logical sentence ever that sounded the most idiotic ever? Ridiculously. Like, I actually feel I lowered my IQ by saying that out loud. And this is the downside that when you're solo casting is you get absolutely no option to think about what you're about to say next. You just kind of have to start talking and it keeps happening and happening, and then you know, like halfway through that sentence I'd already committed myself to realizing that actually what I'm saying, this sounds so dumb. Seriously, Madals, what you just stop. But you can't just stop. You can't just stop talking and wait for the other person to rescue you. You have to commit to it and try and wiggle around this magical mystery path where you actually don't sound completely stupid. So hopefully I achieved that, and by backing up my story with another story was all part of that same game of trying to sidetrack from the fact that what I said was idiotic. But anyway, that's beside the point. Back to the game. Back to the safety of StarCraft, which I know lots about, and I can talk about a lot in a way that makes me sound at least somewhat clever to everyone apart from those armchair Grandmaster players who will no doubt tell me that even when I introduce the players that I miss something huge. But that's fine. I'm okay with that. I can live with it, because I love all you guys, and yeah, that's cool. Anyway, down in the bottom left position, we have got the blue Terran player. He plays for Team Millennium. It is Dashi. I love the way Orbit commands morph in. Like, doesn't that look so awesome? It reminds me of Power Rangers. Anyway, down in the bottom right, we have got the red Zerg. He plays for Team Quantic. It's HyuN. Unfortunately, his base isn't going to do anything interesting while I'm looking at just kind of squelch there, as it does. But anyway, gas is coming down on both sides. There's a hatch first into a spawning pool for HyuN, then the gas. Meanwhile for Dashi, he was just like, barracks, gas, I'm going to kill him. And that is really just a I'm going to kill him kind of approach. It could be for a Reaper, that's a possibility. It could be for this quick reactor. Could be just a bit safer than going for something along the lines of, say, a command center first, which you can do on Whirlwind. But if you do a command center first on Whirlwind, always, for all that is good in the world, make sure that you put the command center as part of your wall off, because otherwise it will be that time that a Zerg player A-pulls you and you will die. You'll smash your keyboard against the wall and then be very upset that you've got to buy a new keyboard. Not that I've ever done that. I'm not a keyboard smasher. I tend to be like I go through like all the phases of anger in about 30 seconds if someone annoys me in a game. It's usually team games that really frustrate me, because if it's me and I've just done something bad, like even if I get cheesed, it doesn't bother me too much. I'm just like, oh, I should have scouted it. Like, it was legit strategy. It caught me off guard. He won. Congrats. If it's a team game and I've played well and I still lose, I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Why did this ever happen? This isn't right. Damn it. Urgh. And then I kind of go into denial that, oh, this isn't really happening. Then acceptance of, oh, well, I lost. Then relentlessly self-improvement. I go through, like, is it 7 stages of, like, anger or 9 stages? I don't know. It's one of the things or another. Who cares? Now, factory is down. Little switcheroo coming down here. Interesting positioning of that factory all the way over here. And the reason that might seem a little bit odd to some people, that, okay, well, that means it's got to fly longer. It delays getting the Widow Mines out. It's because then if a Zergling came and ran up here, it wouldn't be able to see it. Yeah, see that sneakiness? See that sneaky smart play coming out from Dashi there? Don't you love it? It's glorious. Now, HyuN, he's getting down a third quite happily, so he's just like, well, he's got a natural, so I need 1 more base than he's got, which means if he's got 2, I need 3. So he's got 3. He's also got a Rotoron coming down, because he is just that boss. The Starport is on its way. That means Widow Mine drops are going to be coming down, and that makes me shudder slightly in fear, terrifying as they are. Good overlord placement for HyuN should be able to alleviate some of the threat that they pose, because getting it into the base is going to be a bit like trying to escape from Fort Knox with a bar full of gold. or something like that, because he's going to struggle to really sneak past this amazing overlord placement. Like, look at HyuN. There's like this tiny... I don't actually think there is a path you can go through. You'd have to come like down here, around here to get in. It would be near impossible. But so far, credit where credit's due, these Widow Mines and Marines have averted the threat that something's even coming. There are 5 roaches on the way, a good number of queens here. The Widow Mines are going to try and burrow. One gets taken out very quickly, though. Good move there. The queen needs to soak it up. This queen does soak up the Widow Mine here. Good, solid strategy there by HyuN. Of course, if a group of Zerglings came over that, it would have done a lot more. Losing a queen isn't a big loss because HyuN does still have 2 on the ground. He's making more... at the natural, we'll probably make one of the third too. Dashi has yet to actually come and discover that third, but a drop is coming in at the natural base, going to come and start dealing a little bit of damage. The Widow Mine did manage to get a grand total of 0 kills, which is a lot less than it would have wanted. A Widow Mine is going to come and get up, dropped in the main though, so that can try and do a little bit more damage, hopefully. For Dashi, not going to get to do that much, still didn't get a kill. The Roach is cleaning this up very effectively, I must say. So, to be honest, this is going to be a very, very happy little bit of Dashi right now. My mouse is completely deciding to stop moving up and down. It's incredibly frustrating. There we go, it's all back now. See, it's getting stuck on a line. That is incredibly irritating. So, I'm going to have to try and fiddle with that while casting and hopefully nobody noticing, because that is, of course, the cool way that I like to roll. And if you don't notice, that's always good for me, because then I can hide secretively. Now, as we got here, bunker is coming down. We've got the Orbiter Command still sitting in a good spot. A third command center on its way down here for Dashi, so he's comfortably going around everything that he would want to do. Interestingly here, even though he's had this third hatch down for quite a while, he's still only at 34 drones, because he had to force a lot of Zerglings and Roaches in order to defend against those drops, which means his drone count is a lot lower than it would normally be. But he's counteracting that by just saying, well, I'll get out 10 more Roaches and probably just come and kill you. That's a nice approach. The I'm going to kill you approach often works very well. A Raven even coming out in this composition at the moment for the lovely Dashi, so I'll be interested to see what he's going to do with that, how that's going to play into the composition and things. But with Stem a lot later than normal, with +1 only just getting started now, this big flood of units can be incredibly effective. Interestingly though, we see that HyuN trying to hide most of this as the Banshee comes in to go head up against that Spore Caller. Viking will pick off this Overlord that's getting some scouting information, which is a bit frustrating, but of course this is just buying time for HyuN to move over with all these units. But wow, look at this Widow Mine placement. I am slightly terrified these Zerglings are going to run over here and all die, because like those 2 Widow Mines can easily decimate all of these Zerglings. So that's something that HyuN's got to be really careful of. He's moving them back. Okay, please be careful. Sending one Zergling in first, like the pro that he is. Knows there's Widow Mines there now. Going to just send a couple more in, be like, go on then, and let's see how many you've got. Let's just see how many will trigger. Okay, 2 there. He moves up, of course. SCVs have already been pulled, knowing this is coming, but just look at the damage output from those Roaches tearing through the bunker, and now HyuN starts to push forward even closer. The SCVs have been pulled, the Widow Mines have already detonated, though not being able to deal with the Roaches is a bit of a problem in terms of units to defend this. Dashi really doesn't have too much. The supply depot wall tries to go up, but the Roaches are having none of it. They plow through that. Their acid spit is just so damaging. The SCVs now getting annihilated. These poor SCVs, it's a massacre. Unfortunately, the Raven is sitting right where you want to see this, but look at these Roaches. They are huge compared to the size of those SCVs. They're just plowing through. A tank is out, but of course one tank has to be so careful. It is too fat to get between those buildings, and that means it gets taken out. Things looking amazingly good for HyuN now. He is killing so many SCVs. Stream upon stream of Zerglings making their way up as well. That's going to add to even more DPS. Roach is trying to come down. Some auto turrets dealing some damage from this Raven as well. But all in all, there's a good number of units here. I dread to think just how many SCVs were killed there. 34! That is ridiculous. Still more Zerglings streaming up and in. HyuN has ceased the aggression off this next wave though, with 11 drones in production. He's like, I have done enough here. He's killing more workers than the natural base as well. 37 SCVs now dead. Dashi down to just 29 SCVs. HyuN saying, well, I'm going to make 2 macro hatches because I can, while taking a 4th. I'm just going to make hatcheries, because, yeah, that's how I roll, bro. Knowing, and this is actually a really serious point, though. HyuN, he's making all these macro hatches because he banked up a bit too much minerals, so he had to spend that somehow quickly. Macro hatch is a good way of doing that. He's also getting up his 4th. He needs to get a lot of lava out, and he also knows that he's safe to do so, because after dealing that much damage, there is no way Dashi had the units to start pushing out. So HyuN is safe, allowing him to get these, allowing him to ramp up his production and really take some economical risks and be pretty happy there. Now the armory is coming down here for Dashi, who's still pumping out 2 SCVs at a time. His third orbital command is down, but hasn't been floated yet. HyuN is a good like 30 workers ahead of his opponent and a base up still. This Overlord contaminating the area. Underneath him, this is always good, generating that creep, making sure that that orbital command won't be able to land for over a minute once the Overlord is even killed. So just adding to delay upon delay. Really solid play here, and just what I like to see from HyuN. HyuN, he's got his 4th up, but Dashi is about to start putting on the pressure again. 1 tank, a handful of Widow Mines, even the landed Viking, because why the hell not? Good number of roaches trying to get ready to move in here. Are they going to be able to defend against this? Well, the Widow Mines burrowing up. The Overseer will go on vision of those Widow Mines. An auto tower coming down. The SCVs, the Zerglings getting pulled up into the Marines there. And the Zerglings could have got some big hits from the Widow Mines. But in now from the back comes the roaches. The tank sieging up. And it is going to try and get taken out quickly. But the Widow Mines soaking up or doing a lot of damage to those roaches. A lot of them still down there. They are starting to wander their way forward. They don't have drilling claws upgraded. So that means they take a while. But of course, these Marines doing a great bit of counter aggression. A lot of Zerglings being made as quickly as possible. All of these macro hatches clumped together, just making for some really easy shooting practice for this infantry. It's not exactly a target you can miss there. The Widow Mine still burrowed up nicely, covering all the entrances into this base too. The 4th has been revealed by the fact that all the drones got pulled over there. Roaches are coming in, trying to pick this off, but Widow Mines getting some more good shots off, and those Widow Mines are a bit of a problem. The 3rd base has been taken out. The macro hatches surviving for the time being. A big pickup from the medevacs can go straight into the main, and this is where, of course, HyuN has to try and get everywhere very quickly. A tank will get picked off just as the Widow Mine kills a tremendous number of those Zerglings. That is a problem, but now the main is under siege. Dashi is making an incredible comeback here. He's dealing huge amounts of damage to HyuN. The only downside is he hasn't secured that 3rd through this aggression. All of his attention focused on dealing as much damage as possible. HyuN will be able to hold most of it off now, still at 61 to 55 workers, but things certainly a lot closer than they were prior to that push, dealing a huge amount of damage, knocking out that 3rd. The drop can still keep occurring because, of course, these medevacs are still here. They can heal up this infantry very effectively, but Zerglings still sitting around quite comfortably. The Overseers have got to be so vigilant in terms of where the Widow Mine placement is. A drop going to come and try and come into the natural, but of course with 2 Spore Crawlers and a Queen there, that medevac is going to take a huge amount of fire. Is it going to be able to get many of those Marines out? The answer is only 3 of them. The Queen and 2 roaches will be able to deal with that, and all the while HyuN is preparing for a big push against his opponent. The 3rd hasn't been taken. A drop is in the main base, dealing some nice work against that roach, and of course now the Queen getting taken out before it's going to be able to snipe the medevac. Another Queen coming to try and reinforce, but this is as high. HyuN comes in. The supply depot wall off was down. The Bailings getting some good connections, and now the roaches making their way forward. SCVs getting pulled. Dashi wouldn't have been prepared for this. He lost all of his units in that aggression to deal that catastrophic blow, but HyuN, he's coming back fighting, dealing all of the damage that he can. Many SCVs getting taken out there, but the infantry looking like it's going to be able to hold most of this off at the moment. But HyuN, he's just rallying more and more units across, but as they trickle in, it's not going to be enough. He needs another big wave of units. 57 SCVs killed, 36 drones have been, well, ended. Taking the work count 53 to 50, but this 4th base really has been the saving grace of HyuN, keeping him a base up. The Overlord command only now just trying to land. As it realizes the Overlord was blocking it, it does get killed. But of course, things still looking relatively good for the Quantic player. But for Dashi, he is not in the terrible situation he was before. He's got the 2-1 upgrades up against 2-2. He's got +2 infantry armor, only about 55 seconds away from completion. So this just means that he will be leveling out the upgrades shortly. HyuN is not in the strongest spot. He lost the gas geyser, he lost the mining base, his natural even, I don't know if he, no, he hasn't even taken that gas. Wow, so he's very low on gas, but in he comes now with the Banelings. He's got to get some good connections here. No Widow Mines. The Overseer being very careful to make sure that they can't detonate on the Banelings. Of course, we see the SCVs taking a huge amount of damage. A lot of the infantry getting taken out here. The auto turret soaking up a bit of fire. A Hellbat really saving the day with that many Zerglings, but still more units have been killed. 69 workers have been deaded. That's not even a word, but it sounds cool. And of course 69 workers killed always makes you chuckle a little bit because it's 69. He. Now, anyway, Dashi, he secured this 3rd. That is good news for Dashi. He's down by 17 workers again. HyuN only now just considering, actually maybe I should retake this 3rd base. That was quite useful. I want that back. I I want it ready to engage again. Of course, Dashi trying to pump out units. This is a very close fought battle, but the supply depot wall is down. The Hellbats trying to get pulled in order to defend these Zerglings. The Zerglings do manage to make it into the natural mineral line, and the Hellbats not going over there because a lot of the attention with the Roaches. A few more SCVs getting taken down. 71 now. This is just preventing Dashi from getting the economy he needs to keep this going. While the counter aggression from HyuN's initial push was great from the Millennium player, he wasn't able to deal that big enough blow to prevent his own counter attack coming in. This game has been so back and forth, brilliantly executed from both of these two players. It's amazing to watch, amazing to see, and the joy is that I still don't know which way it can go. Because with some good engagements, Dashi is not out of this yet. HyuN is sitting with the 2-2 upgrades against 2-2. He hasn't really got a game plan further than just ploughing Zerglings, Banelings, and Roaches into his opponent time and time again. And as Dashi gets more and more units out, that's going to get harder and harder for HyuN to be able to accomplish, especially with these Hellbats soaking up some of the Baneling hits. But in comes a massive flood of units. The splitting from Dashi is trying to be as quick as possible, but there's just so much stuff here. The Marines at the back picking apart a good number of the Roaches, but Banelings coming in from the flank. Can they get some good connections on the Marines? The answer is yes, relatively good ones, but the Marines now pulling back, trying to get safe. Dashi has held once again, didn't take any more economic damage there, and did annihilate most of HyuN's army. And this seems like the opportunity for Dashi to go for the counter aggression. He has got 12 medevacs on the field. Unfortunately, I don't even think he's got, well, he's only got 20 Marines, so that is a pretty good medevac to Marine ratio. But we do have more Banelings morphing in. This third base is once again going to get attacked. HyuN's like, I just remade that, bro. And this small group of infantry trying to go head to head against these Roaches. The healing is what's really helping, though, preventing these infantry from getting taken out. And we can just see now that as the Banelings come rolling in, most of it has been annihilated. And this is a bit of a problem, but reinforcements are coming in. Reinforcements need to come in for HyuN as well. He's getting a couple more speedlings. He's got to keep this third up. It's essential that he manages to keep that secure. He's trying to get the more units on their way, but Dashi flooding units across. Things not looking good for HyuN at the moment, even though he's been putting on the pressure. Did he overextend a moment ago? Can he get the units he needs out to defend these additional bases? Drones are dying so quickly. Reinforcements just plowing across, as we can see. Dashi at 130 supply to just the 90 of HyuN. Roaches trying to find a nice angle. Of course, the Roaches don't have any missile attack upgrades, so that means they don't engage that well. They are just a stopgap. 12 more on their way through. More units flooding their way across. A small group of infantry and one auto-tide working away at these hatches. One of the macro hatches also going to go down. A Zergling counterattack coming in, just trying to make sure that he is able to take down some more of these SCVs, plus the push into the natural. I think Dashi is going to be able to do this now, short of a miracle from HyuN. HyuN has done a bit of counter aggression, but just look at the amount of stuff down here at the moment. The army supply, 83 to just 34. More Roaches trying to come out, but the upgrade advantage, the fact that these are now 3-2 infantry, is plowing through. The Overlords are unfortunately also in a very vulnerable position. More reinforcements on their way in, and as we see, many of them getting taken out. A supply block for HyuN, which is probably going to be the end of it. He is so heavily supply blocked, and there goes the GG. And Dashi was able to take the game, and my goodness, that series was sensational. It wasn't even a series, it was only one game. It seems like that was like some perilously fought best of 9. It was so intense. There was so much back and forthing. My goodness, that was good. If you enjoyed that, like even a quarter as much as I did, you should like this video. You should leave a cool comment, and of course you should subscribe. I get new games up daily, so I hope to catch each and every one of you tomorrow for yet another new cast. I'm Madals, thanks for watching, and bye for now.